Greetings, this is Matt Faiello, Technical Marketing Engineer with the Cisco Cloud Networking Compute BU, and we're back with another Intersight Managed Mode Expert Series video. Today we're going to discuss what I think might be a lesser known capability of Intersight, and that's performing OS installs using an injected CSV file. Now I realize a lot of you probably already know about that, but I've ran across some folks that were unaware. And kind of the reason for that is it's not necessarily front and centered within the UX. So we're going to run through that. I'm going to show you and show you where it is and spell out some differences and where to go to get some source materials for that. Okay, so for this short video, we're just going to jump to Intersight and kind of show and tell what I'm going to try to communicate with the CSV file for OS install. And just as a short recap, uh, I've grouped my servers here into a customized view. I just like to see what I'm working with at the time. And for those that are new to Intersight, of course, if you select the breadcrumbs on the far right side, that's for single server operations. So anything you see in the list here is just executed on the single server. Even if you were to mass select servers, okay, and go over here and use the far right breadcrumbs, you're only going to actually perform that action on the single server. Compare and contrast that to the breadcrumbs in the top left here, which is for multi-server operations, multi-server firmware upgrades, for instance, or multi-server operating installs. Okay, so just to clarify that. And what I want to show you, though, for the CSV file is you might be inclined to go ahead and pick your servers initially and then go up here and do install operating system. Well, if you do that, it's going to keep the selected servers that you install, but you've already progressed past the point in the workflow that you can inject a CSV file for operating system installs. And, why does the CSV file kind of make it easier? Well, let's go down here and kind of go forward a little bit. Let me pick a particular build of ESXi. Um, uh, as you see, if you multi-select the servers and then go to multiple OS installs, then you get these screens here where you have to fat finger in all the properties, okay? And that might be fine for one or two servers, but Intersight actually supports up to 75 server OS installs at a time from a scalability standpoint. So you certainly probably don't want to come in here and scroll down endlessly, okay, typing in all those parameters. Okay, so as you can see, we're already past the point of which I can use a CSV file. So let me cancel out of that. So what you want to do, and might be a little unknown to some folks or confusing, is you don't actually select anything in the list. You go up to the multi-select breadcrumbs and then click install operating system. And now you're seeing this screen here for the first time. Okay, now set configuration via wizard. That's kind of what we just did. You're going to select your servers and then you're going to have to fat finger in all the properties, IP address, gateway, DNS, host name, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we don't want to do that. We want to actually use a CSV file that's been formatted and pre-populated with information, with all that information, and then go from there. So if you want to learn more about that, you can do the About Operating System install, and it takes you Intersight help. And then if you go down to about the fourth item here, uploading CSV files, you can go there. And this will tell you about how to do it and what the parameters mean and the definitions for each one of those. If you click over here to sample CSV files, you can actually see different examples based on, what type of install you're doing, the storage drive configuration, the protocol, etc. Okay, so there's a lot of examples in here that cover local installs, iSCSI installs, fiber channel installs. Okay, so I invite you to come look at this, and then once you find and zero in on what you're going to need, In my case, I'm going to use the Cisco mode, meaning I'm going to use media. ESXi media has the drivers already embedded in it. Okay, and I'm also going to be providing static IPs. You can download that from GitHub and then simply edit that template, that CSV file. Okay, but this is basically what it looks like. Okay, and so let's go back. Okay, so we're back at that install operating system pane, and I'm going to click set configuration via file. Okay, and then click start. And now it wants me to go out and browse and upload that file. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I've got one populated. It says -6 because I'm using 6 of my 8 servers in that chassis. The other 2 servers have a different drive configuration. So if you're going to do this at scale, you obviously want to have different templates for the different drive configurations you might be dealing with. If you're homogeneous and everything's the same, that's going to make things even easier. So it already did validity checks. It likes the file, and now I can proceed with my next. And as you can see here, everything is already pre-populated. Okay, so I can actually just perform an install right here from this screen for all 6 of the 8 servers. Okay, I had to type in the serial number, so it's already identified the correct servers within Intersight, and that's all in that CSV file. Well, that completes the demonstration. I hope this shed some light for some folks that maybe didn't know that this capability exists. Pretty easy to go into a CSV file, copy rows, paste rows, change just the parameters you need, and then inject that, and then kick off the install, and then go have lunch and come back and see that your installations have completed. So I hope you're able to learn something from this, and that completes the demo. Before we close out of this video, I want to just take the opportunity to kind of brag a little bit about all the different ways within Intersight that we can do OS installations. Okay, kind of going from the most basic to the most sophisticated, if you would. Okay, so certainly you can launch a virtual KVM in Intersight, and you can manually map the media either to the vKVM or to the CIMC of the server. Okay, and then you can use the option of one-time boot to override the actual boot order policy that you have in your server profile. And that's a capability. You don't need a vMedia policy because you're manually mapping it through the vKVM. And that's available in the Essentials tier. So everybody has that capability. The second way you can do it is to actually use a vMedia policy in the server profile, and you've got that properly placed in your boot order, and then you boot to the vMedia upon conclusion of SP deployment, and actually install the operating system that way. That again is an Essentials tier capability. What we just talked about is using the actual Intersight OS install capabilities, a server action. No vMedia policy is actually required because it's all being handled by basically the workflow that's being executed. You know, this is an advantage tier capability for that Intersight OS install because it is workflows. You're putting a pretty front end on the front of like an ICO type workflow that gets executed. So most things in Intersight execute as a workflow, and this is certainly a case in point. You can do single servers, you can do multi-select, and then as we talked about in the video here, a CSV file injection to do multiple servers. Kind of the fourth way to do it is to actually take advantage of Intersight Cloud Orchestrator, and that's where you can use the task designer and be able to map out, clone SP from template, deploy SP, reboot the server, perform a bare metal install of the server. So that actually can be executed as a workflow, a customized workflow within Intersight Cloud Orchestrator. And that's, again, an advantage tier capability. And then finally, if you want to externally develop your own scripts, you can use the API and the SDKs that are available, Python, for example, to build your own script to install the operating system. So hopefully you found this slide informative. And that completes our video today about OS installs using a CSV file. So hopefully you were able to pick up a few things to help you go forward with performing operating system installs in Intersight. Stay tuned for more IMM Expert Series videos. And thank you.